This is Richard Bevan from Richmond, the American International University in London. I'm making this video for my film students during the coronavirus outbreak. So the video is an introduction to the app called Filmic Pro for smartphones. Here it is. Filmic Pro is a really useful app. It gives your smartphone lots of the manual functions you would expect to find on more professional cameras. Lots of the videos on YouTube are really long, so I'm just going to keep this as a kind of brief introduction to the app. So when you open the app, it looks like this, similar to just a standard recording app. If I press this, it starts filming. If I press it again, it stops. But I'm going to show you some of the more manual functions now. If I press on this, it brings up the manual controls, and this side adjusts exposure. So I can decide how light or dark I want my image to be, and it just locks there. And this side is manual focus. So with this, I can start to do things like a focus pull, or just lock the focus in a particular place. So the two shapes on the screen are another way of controlling focus and exposure. This is my focus. And if I tap it, it locks the focus there. And this is my exposure. And that's going to lock the exposure there. There's some other nice functions of the app. So the app has a zoom function here. I'm using an iPhone 7, so it's quite out of date compared to some of the phones I know my students use. And I think this zoom function is probably way more useful on more recent iPhones. Here we can adjust our white balance, and we have lots of presets, like with the cameras. And we can also just manually dial in a color look that we want as well, which is pretty good. So also here, it gives you some more professional options. This is an extra paid section of the app, but it allows you to change the color profile. So for instance, you can change your video to log, which a lot of my students like to work with, so they can color it themselves later. By default, it's on natural. There's also noise reduction built in if you're filming in low light situations. There's also this settings function here. And in here, there's lots of things you can change about the app. So for instance, the resolution. So I can choose if I want it to be HD or 4K, etc. I can adjust the quality of the video, and I can also quickly add a crop, which is quite useful. Also in settings, I can change the frame rate. So by standard, it is set at 24 frames per second, like sort of cinema, but I can use this to adjust the frame rate, and I can also do custom slow motion settings in here as well. The audio function, you can actually plug in external microphones with, if you've got the right adapter, and you can choose what the source is for the audio, or simply have your video silent. In the device section, it gives you lots of extra controls. The one I use is save to camera roll, so the video just saves straight to the iPhone camera section rather than inside Filmic Pro. You can save presets for your app. You can link the app to your gimbal here, if you have one, or other hardware adapters. The stabilization is a very useful feature. If I turn it off, the video becomes much more shaky. And if I just turn it on, it becomes much smoother. I think it's on by default. It's really useful. I can flip the camera around. So this is the front camera of my phone. And now I'm back to the back. I can also do things like use the light on my phone, and I can add frame guides and things. If you're going to use this app, make sure you've got some space on your phone, obviously, and make sure your battery's charged. But other than that, there's not much more to say, really. Good luck to video production with their projects, and hopefully this is useful for someone else too.